Welcome back to Winning the Game of Life. I'm your host, Shawn Chhabra. Today, I got a very special guest. My featured guest today is Seth Greene.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me join you and serve your audience.
How about you start with your little bit background and tell us what you do, and then we'll take from there?
Sure. I am the founder of Market Domination LLC, which is you can find at ultimatemarketingmagician.com. We are the fastest growing privately held marketing firm in the country. I started it 8 years ago. It started out as just me and one client and is now grown to clients all over the world, all the way up from a single individual entrepreneur to Fortune 500 companies and an office building full of a great team that delivers great results for our clients.
Very nice, very nice. Like I see, like you are a multiple best-selling author and you are nationally recognized direct response marketer. Would you like to tell us a little bit about all those part of journey?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I've written 6 books: Financial Advisor Marketing Magic, Real Estate Marketing Magic, Online Marketing Magic, Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, The Facebook Ninja, and the about-to-be-published Podcast Marketing Magic. And I am the only person in history who has been nominated for Dan Kennedy's Marketer of the Year Award for 3 years in a row.
Wow, 3 years in a row.
It's been an awesome journey.
Wow. So, like, what kind of clients you have? Like, you help like a entrepreneur, small businesses, or like a big corporate customers, or just tell
all
us.
of the above. So we represent everyone from the individual doctor, lawyer, dentist, financial planner, restaurant owner, coach, consultant, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. So it runs the gamut. They all want the same thing. They all want more customers for their business. It's just a question of, the type of budget they've got to get those customers.
Like a certain percentage of my listeners and viewers are like entrepreneurs. They are still to start their business, but there are some small businesses. So where they should start, like if they want to follow the path, like getting published and utilizing that for the lead generation and growing their business?
Yep, we believe that you are absolutely right, Shawn. That is the best, fastest, most effective way to start and grow a small business is by making yourself the authority in your marketplace. And the best way to do that's with a book, because authors in our society are still celebrities. So I think what we do is we tell them to get a podcast. We build a podcast for them, and we strategically place the guests on that podcast who are people who have their ideal client as their client. So for example, let's say my client is a pediatric dentist. We will have a podcast for him where he interviews pediatricians in his area. And then we will turn each podcast episode into a chapter in a book. And when there's enough episodes done, we'll publish a book. And then, so let's say the book is Raising Healthy Kids, and he mails out copies to all the pediatricians. They buy a couple hundred copies each because they want to give it to all their patients. And in that book are a couple chapters about my client, the dentist, and why he's the dentist you should go to for your kids. And then all of a sudden, if he's got 20 pediatricians handing out a couple hundred copies of his book each, he now has a ton of referrals and a much more successful business.
Oh my God! So you are like using the podcast interviews just to generate the content for the book?
Exactly.
Wow, what a concept!
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing your day with me today. So this is a chapter we are creating in my next book.
Exactly.
Very good, very good. So do you also like recommend people to becoming the guest on other podcasts?
Yes, that's the next step of that process is getting, so the local dentist isn't necessarily going to go get booked on a whole lot of shows because there may not be a lot of podcasters in his local marketplace. However, if you're an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, a business that isn't limited to where your customers are, that can serve customers from anywhere, And if you're not limited in terms of the number of customers you can handle, or you're not at capacity yet, then absolutely we would get you booked on other shows that were relevant to your marketplace to get you a lot more exposure and a lot more business, because by being on those shows, you're getting more credibility and you're getting, in essence, you're interviewing me on your show. So in essence, you're almost endorsing me to the folks who are listening to this, and they're going to go to ultimatemarketingmagician.com to get a free copy of my book on podcasting and attend a free live training webinar where I teach them exactly how our process works. And some of them are going to be inspired and go do it on their own. Some of them are going to do it with you. And some of those folks are going to want a different level of service and hire us. So it absolutely is a great strategy.
So in other words, like I'm presenting you as an expert in particular industry to my listeners and viewers.
Exactly, and I will be interviewing you on my show coming up, presenting you as an expert to my 2.2 million listeners.
Wow, 2.2. Like I'm not there yet.
You'll get there.
Nice.
Part of that strategy was interviewing people on my podcast who had very large lists of my ideal customers so that they would be exposed to my show and my message, and it worked.
Very nice. So where are you taking it beyond this? I thought you have 5 books, so today you introduced 6th one. So what next?
I'm actually working on the next couple books as we speak. However, Podcast Marketing Magic, the new book, hasn't even, it's in Kindle form, PDF form right now. The reason it hasn't been physically published, we haven't published like on CreateSpace, is because it works so well that we actually have multiple publishers negotiating for a deal. So I am hoping to find my book in Barnes & Noble soon, in which case then I will get to work on publishing the next couple books.
Very nice. Congratulations for that success,
Thank you. We don't have a deal signed yet. So we're still in that process, but I am closer to having a real bookstore book than all of my other bestsellers are Amazon bestsellers. I'm looking forward to my kids seeing my book at Barnes & Noble and hitting the New York Times bestseller list.
Good. Like we should shoot for that.
Yes.
Very nice.
That is my big, hairy, audacious goal.
I know we started this show and I started just jumping into your marketing thing. I really want to know a little bit about your real background, where you started, I would have asked that earlier, but first I wanted my listeners and viewers to see what you're doing now, where you are now. So I always want to take you back where you started. Like there was something special, some special event, some special activity, or something in your journey which made you what you are today?
There's a few. So I started out as a financial advisor. I worked at a Fortune 500 company that no longer exists because it was bought out. And my job was to make 300 cold calls a day, interrupting strangers and asking them for money. So that was very frustrating to me. And along the way, throughout that journey, I had the good fortune to discover Dan Kennedy, who, if you don't know, is the highest paid marketing consultant on the planet and has about 20 best-selling books.
Legendary copywriter?
Yes, legendary copywriter. So I did a consultation with Dan where he told me, cold calling is stupid and you shouldn't be doing it, and that I should hire Dan, and that would change my life. So I went home to my wife and I said, honey, I know in the last 12 months we got married, bought our first house, had our first baby, and 3 weeks ago you quit your job to be a stay-at-home mom, and I am the sole breadwinner and I'm making cold calls for a living right now, but I got to go borrow all this money to go hire this guy Dan. And she said no. And I asked her the same question for 30 days in a row, and her no's included various profanity after them as I kept asking and asking and asking. Until day 31, when she said, you better pray this works. And so I started working with Dan, and Dan quadrupled my revenue as a financial advisor and got me to the point where I was in the top 30 in the country at my firm. And I said, what do I do now? And he said, you start a marketing company and do this for other people. So I did that 8 years ago, and it applied the same marketing principles, and it's taken off ever since.
What a journey,
It's been an interesting ride.
So now you got a big company, or how you operate? Like how big is your company now?
Yes, we have 14 people who are physical employees, and then we've got another 14 independent contractors who work by the project or on specific clients, so total of 28.
Very nice. So like, lot of my listeners and viewers, they haven't started the business. Do you recommend them into getting into business, or you recommend them to people for look that's cold calling business or call or something like
I know
job?
I would never recommend cold calling. Absolutely not. So, yes, I wish I had started both my companies sooner. I wish I had learned direct response marketing a lot sooner. I think my advice would be, don't quit your day job yet. Build your business on the side of your day job until your business generates enough stable recurring revenue that you can afford to quit your day job, and then take those 40 hours a week and blow it up to as big as you want it.
So you got so many books of your own. So would you like to recommend some other books to my listeners and viewers in addition?
You know what? I'll show you.
In addition to your own books.
In addition to my own books, which of course they should all go buy.
Yeah.
Here are some of my favorites. All right, so Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. You can see how much I've dog-eared and notated Russell Brunson's .com secrets. Russell's a good friend, and he's been on my podcast. Richard Koch's The Star Principle, and Perry Marshall's 80-20 Sales and Marketing. And I'll give you one more, which is Dan Kennedy's No BS Marketing to the Affluent. Those are my 5 favorite books. And as you can see, I've read them many, many, many times.
Yeah, so reading did help you.
Oh, absolutely. This is where I learned all this stuff from. When my wife gives me a hard time about, you got your head in a book, help me more with the kids, or why are you always on your iPad looking at videos, I'll say, you ask me how I know all this stuff. This is how I know all this stuff. It's because I read their books and bought their training courses and watched their videos. That's how I learned all this.
How about some of the habits? Would you like to recommend some of the habits, or at least some of your habits which may have helped you succeed in business and life?
Habits. That's a good question. I would say I'll give you personality traits that have helped me succeed are I am incredibly persistent. I refuse to give up, and you can't fail if you never stop trying. I would say I am a practitioner of relentless follow-up. We have some follow-up sequences in our marketing automation software that go, a year or two. So we've had clients who, 6 months, a year after they opted in, finally hired us. And I've had clients who said, I hired you because you have the most relentless follow-up sequence I've ever seen, and I knew you would never stop dripping on me unless I gave you money. So here, I'm hiring you for something. Can I get to a different list where you don't drip on me forever? And I said, well, no, because now that you're a client, we're going to drip on you forever, just in a different way. And I'll tell you two habit. You actually now that I think about it, I would say habits. Do something every day to bring in new business, and do something every day to make your existing customers, if you have them, happy and get them results. And that's really the only thing you need. You need to get business and keep those customers happy. That's everything else falls into those two categories.
Yeah, I mean, if your customers are not making money and they are not succeeding or they are not growing because of your efforts, they will never come back.
Exactly. And we're not perfect, but we also never give up.
So my friend, why don't you tell us a little bit about how a small business can become an authority in the industry, and how he can use the book, and how can use these podcasts, or whatever the newest technology is coming here,
The fastest way to gain authority for whatever business you're in is to write a book. The fastest way to write a book is to interview other people and transcribe it and turn it into a book, so you don't have to write every word of it. And the fastest way to get people to promote your business without having to pay them affiliate commissions for it is put them in a book and have them hand out, promote that they were in your book. So that is one of our sexiest marketing strategies at the moment, other than social media marketing. The podcast into strategic book is working incredibly well. It's funny, I was at a meeting the day we were shooting this with a prospective client, and they are a cloud IT solution provider type of business. and they have a specific sweet spot of working with large architectural firms.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, how do we get them? And I said, go write a book, interview the CEOs of the top 20 architecture firms, put them in a book. And that'll, even if it doesn't turn into immediate business, it'll at least get you in the door. You'll have a relationship with them, and they will take your call next time you call. And if you have a proposal, they'll be open to listening to it. Whereas if you tried cold calling like I used to do, it doesn't work so well. So, I mean, with the new media tools that are out there today, whether it's podcasting or Periscope or Blab, it's so much easier than, even 8 years ago when I started our marketing firm, Facebook wasn't even a big advertiser yet. It wasn't big. Facebook advertising hadn't taken off yet. So it's become so much easier to reach your target market and so much easier to start a business very, very cheaply than it was even 8 years ago, that I would encourage anyone who has that type of desire to do it and get started with it while maintaining their safety net if at all possible, because there has never been a better time than right now. And there are a podcasting stat that I'm sure is there are over 1 billion people listening to podcasts right now. And in the next 5 years, that number is going to triple. It's going to be 3 billion. So your target market is out there, whether you know it or not, looking for a podcast about what you do. If it's not going to be you, it's going to be your competition. So it might as well be you first.
So would you like to help my listeners and viewers, like they're really small business, they have very small budget, and they want to do some of the, like, for example, Facebook marketing or any other media marketing themselves?
Sure. So you absolutely can. It has never been more affordable. As they'll find out, if you go to ultimatemarketingmagician.com and register, we will give you not only a free download of my new book, Podcast Marketing Magic, but a free live training webinar where I walk you through the exact steps we use to deliver these results. And literally, there's no pitch on that webinar. There's no sales pitch. It's just all content, all educational. So they'll learn about the podcasting and book side on that webinar. I also wrote a book called The Facebook Ninja, which they can get on Amazon or on my website at Ultimate. They can go around on ultimatemarketingmagician.com and find it, where we teach, literally how to do Facebook advertising, even if you've never even heard of Facebook, even if you don't have a Facebook account. And they have got, even since that book came out, the targeting tools on Facebook have gotten even better to make it even easier and more affordable to reach your ideal potential customers.
Very nice, very good, very good. Like, I'm sure some of my listeners and viewers can connect with you, and we'll be putting all the links and all these, like a actual direct link to all your books also.
That would be great.
Do you recommend any online tools for people to make their life easier? Anything?
Online tools to make your life easier. So I don't know if they're online tools so much as apps. I'm a big fan of Evernote. I'm a big fan of Zyte, Z-Y-T-E, which allows you to create your own custom magazine that is constantly updated with content on things you're interested in. And I am also a big fan of RescueTime.com, which goes on your computer and then tracks every minute of the day what you do, and then gives you a report. So it'll tell you spent 2 hours on email, you spent an hour on Facebook, you spent 3 hours on Microsoft Word. So then you can say, am I being productive or was I wasting time? So we had to reconfigure the software because a lot of the marketing we do is on social media. So we had to make it say Facebook time is productive time for us because we're doing it for our clients. And once we did reconfigured the software, I actually got contacted by the company saying, you're getting 3 times as much done in a day as our average user. How did you do that? How do you do that? How are you so productive? So one of the ways is obviously monitoring what we do so that we know, if one of my employees spent 30 minutes online shopping, she's not supposed to be doing that. She can do that on her own time. When we are at work, all we do is work. So I would say Evernote, Zyte, and Rescue Time.
Time is the most valuable thing you got in your life. So
exactly.
Very nice explain, and it will truly help somebody. And I'm going to install that on my computer first.
You should. You'll be interested in what your results are.
Yeah, very good. So I would like to thank you for coming to the show, and I'm sure I would like to invite you one more time if you can spare time in
I'd be
future.
happy to. I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Do not throw that old phone away. Your trash may be hidden gold. We want your old device and will pay top dollar for it. Our process is as easy as 1, 2, 3. We offer no obligation sales. If you have a problem with the price that we gave you, we will return the device to you at no charge. Fast payment, free shipping, free data wipe, risk-free transaction. Buybackqueen.com.